Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, our fellow lovebirds out there. How are you all doing today? There we go. We'll use that one this week. And that one, I want to remind you, because we've been forgetting to, you want to send us your love letters and questions, comments, suggestions, etc. You can send them to love@latenightLove.us. And you can always find past shows and the questions we cover here written down at latenightLove.us and follow along. You can actually watch the show live at latenightLove.us.
Yes, you can.
Well, so that all can be done there. All right, but in this episode of Late Night Love, we dive into shocking requests and betrayals that test our relationships and resilience. From a mother asking her daughter for an egg donation to a friend's mysterious exit from a wedding, we explore life's toughest moments. We tackle workplace challenges, even like nosy managers and a coworker working through labor. Why would you do that? Parenting dilemmas, such as explaining death to a toddler, and relationship struggles, including cleanliness and regretting marriage. Plus, we address intimacy issues from cuckolding and managing sexual frequency. Join us for candid conversations and practical advice on oh man, it's going to be
one of those shows.
navigating difficult situations. It's going to be one of those. I couldn't get through the first paragraph thing to intro tonight. Every other sentence I was messing. Oh, it's going to be fun. So join us for the rest of this. See if I can speak some words.
It's not looking good.
No. The chances are some interesting things are going to come out of this mouth tonight.
Yeah.
Likely not what I want to cover. So we're going to start with some life questions. We're changing things up tonight because Lubby had a strange dive into research this week.
Yes, I did. I found some interesting stuff. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. So we're going to start with some life questions this morning. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom wants me to donate my egg. How to save our relationship? Okay, the mother is 60.
Uh-huh.
The daughter's 30.
Mhm.
Now, she doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
She doesn't want to her mother to, for one thing, it's a health risk, and
Okay.
she doesn't think her mom would be a good mother at 60. It doesn't think it's fair to the child, and all these good stuff.
Okay. Well, one, if you're going to tell your mother no, just make it about you, not about your mother. Don't tell your mother that she's not going to be a good mother at 60. Just say, I'm not comfortable donating my eggs to anybody. They're mine, and I want them to stay where they're, leave my body at a regular rate, and I don't want to share with anybody. Thank you very much. And you just don't share with anybody. Make it about you. Be selfish. You're allowed.
Yeah, you can.
Don't make it about your mother. Make it about you and move on. There's no, unless your mother is cutting you off because of it, there's no relationship to save or not. It's just saying no to something that's not giving up something that's, it's okay for her to ask, and it's okay for you to say no.
And her mother is doing it out of fear. She's married to a younger man who wants children.
Also, there's lots of children that need adoption.
Yes.
And, if they want children, that's the route for them to go. So I understand essentially where the mother's coming from, but there's better options for that because your daughter's uncomfortable with it. So you're going to have to find another one. So just say no. You're allowed to say no.
There you go.
Don't make it a thing. She's allowed to ask. You're allowed to say no without it affecting your relationship long term. Doesn't have to be a betrayal one way or the other. It's just it is. Everybody has a right. She has a right to ask. You have a right to say no. I'm leaving it at that. Okay.
Okay, I feel very betrayed by my boyfriend friends after the election.
So you feel betrayed because other people didn't vote the way you think they should, regardless of which way you voted.
No,
maybe.
they were all on the same page.
Uh-huh.
And then afterwards, I mean, things have now fallen apart. And controversial, let's just say. Things are very controversial now. And they're just ho-hum, and she's getting all militant and she's going on protests and all this kind of good stuff. And she feels betrayed by them because they're just like, yeah, it's whatever.
Well, yeah, democracy has its consequences. Whether half the country's always going to be upset, right? Regardless of who wins. Even in a place that's deeply one side or the other, 40% of the people are going to be unhappy. It's just the way the world works, and accepting that is part of it. Most people just want to go about their daily lives. They don't want to live their lives in politics, and that's what your friends are doing. You don't have to be militant. They don't have to become political just because you do. Accept that other people, are willing to just kind of ride things out until they change, because they always do.
Yeah, they always do.
Every action, what is it? There is a great saying in science: every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And we all think of it just plays in science, and it's humans too. The reactions are just not always predictable. And when you get into something as complicated as 300 million humans, all these these cultural pressures that have been going on for the last 25 years, 35 years, take your pick, 50 years, 75 years, 150 years, 300 years. Draw your arbitrary line in the sand. There's reactions to all of it. This is a reaction to we are currently living a reaction to the consequences of draw your arbitrary line in the past. And, some arbitrary line in the future will be a reaction to this and all the things that were a reaction before that. It's how history works. So, someone cursed too many people. May you live in interesting times. Well, we're living in interesting times.
That's an old Russian curse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been cursed too many times.
Yes, we have.
Eventually, all those curses have to come true. So we'd be all right. Go do your thing. Knock yourselves out. I wouldn't tell you not to. Follow your heart. Be smart about it is my suggestion. Okay.
My best friend pulled out of my wedding and refuses to tell me why. How do I deal with the aftermath?
Well, can she guess? Does she have a good guess, or is it just?
No, nothing. Not a clue.
Well, usually it's because she best friends learn something and doesn't want to say it, so the only way she can is not to participate.
Well, it could be what about the expense?
Well, yeah,
if it just got to be too much socially.
Well, yeah, if you're doing a destination wedding type thing, you have to expect people to pull out. Right? Because especially during, economic times that are ups and downs, people who had stable jobs before may no longer have them. Those kind of things. So it could be that, especially if travel's involved. But, maybe you're becoming a bridezilla and don't want to say anything. Don't want to spoil your day. Maybe she hates your fiance and just doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Could be a plethora. Don't know.
Don't know. And here's my thing. Don't worry about it.
No. Enjoy your day.
So that's one less guest to worry about.
Yes.
Just don't make it a thing. Okay.
And she's gonna have moments where she misses her.
Yeah.
So feels.
Just accept that someone's not coming to the wedding, just like any other guest.
Yeah. There you go.
And don't worry. Don't let it impact the rest of your relationship, because it doesn't have to.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
We're
So,
gonna do work.
yeah, hey, we started with life, so we're hopping into work questions.
Okay.
All right.
Manager keep poking into reasons after I gave my 2-week notice.
Okay. Yeah. So why didn't you just tell them?
Because he doesn't want to talk bad about the company.
Tell them that.
Well,
Tell them that. You say, I would really like to, but I don't want to leave on bad grounds. And, there's some things that I wasn't happy with, so I'm leaving. And you leave it at that.
okay.
Now, here's the thing. Sometimes it's good to tell them so they can actually become a better company. No one tells them what they're doing wrong. How do they know they're doing it wrong? If no one knows that this is a problem, if someone doesn't know, and upper management can become disconnected to what's happening on the ground floor. What's happening, it can just become disconnected. Happens a lot. And if no one tells them what's going on, they don't know what's going on, so they can't fix what's going on. So there is some responsibility to the people on the ground floor, to kick the complaints upward rather than around themselves. And maybe there's a blockage. Maybe they are kicking the complaint upwards, but the person who's taking the complaint is the problem. Well, now as you're, doesn't seem that way. Maybe he is the problem. And you hear, here, Bob, you're the problem. You're why I'm leaving. You're annoying to deal with. You don't give straight answers. When I need something fast, you take 2 days. I can't get my work done. That's why I'm leaving. So it's okay. Just do it out of respect, It's okay to give feedback to people. It's actually empowering.
And they're asking.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to expect some negativity, right?
You're leaving. Yeah. And I thought he was happy. What was he leaving for?
Yeah.
Did someone just offer him a new opportunity? Just want to do something different? These are all, things that can happen. Or is it something we're doing?
Mhm.
So, I mean, the job pays what the job pays sometimes. Maybe you might be maxed out or near maxed out. Maybe they can't give you any more money. Maybe they can give you some more flexibility, that type of thing in the role. So maybe they're kind of stuck in terms of compensation, at least direct compensation. But he just doesn't want to say anything bad about the company because you're being too nice is what you're doing. Now's a perfect opportunity to politely tell them what here's the annoyances that have made me consider leaving, that made me think about leaving. And this is, eventually there's the final straw. It's usually silly, but the final straw doesn't have to be heavy, does it?
No, it certainly doesn't.
All right. So there you go. Okay. In a related note,
How do I give a 2-week notice for the first time? Now, isn't there like a ton of stuff? Wouldn't an AI search?
This is a perfect thing for an AI, especially if you're young, you're used to using it. Ask your Google Assistant or Siri or whatever. It would actually be a good way to do it because the generic, hey, this is that's a perfect thing. AI is great for giving generic kind of things like this, right? So that's the perfect use for an AI. Hey, I need to draft a 2-week notice letter, a polite 2-week notice letter. And thank you for the opportunity. But generically speaking, here's what you do. I'm writing to inform you that I'm regretfully must give you my 2-week notice. I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm going on to other things. If you have some responsibilities, you say, I will, during this period, I will help, train the replacement or give whatever knowledge and then access you will need. Make sure that for a smooth transition.
There you go.
Something of that nature. But of course, you ask the AI for it, it's gonna give you something of that nature. So don't overthink it. Just pound it out and be done with it.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, if your boss comes and asks you, and likely if it's your first one, it means you're moving on to something bigger and better. You're going to college or something like that. And then people know young people go on to different things, especially companies that don't pay well. They know what they are. They're a rung in the ladder. People come to them to get skills and experience so they can go on and get a real job, a better job. That's their role in the economy. They expect it. Some of them even deliberately train you up so you can go off and become, and the person, that's their, hey, I can't pay you very well, but I can teach you and send you off about your way. A lot of people do that. So, okay.
Pregnant coworker intends to work from the hospital while she's in labor. That's nice. These are just lovely little intentions. But having done it, obviously she's never done it before. So she has no idea of the all-consuming power of a contraction. And it really holds your attention, So she's not going to be doing any kind of work. Now, maybe
well, let's be honest. There's 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 10,000 or something. That's the oddball case. The proverbial, like in the old days, the proverbial woman who's out picking rice, has labor, puts the baby in the backpack and continues picking rice. That's a story that's lasted for centuries because it happened one time. Right. There's one.
Her name was Sally.
Yeah. It is not something that occasionally that person pops up. She is likely not one. She's a workaholic and she is going to get a rude awakening. But let nature take its course. Plan for her not to be working. And if she happens to get some work done, check it because it's not going to be right.
No.
So that would be my suggestion. And it's tax season. Maybe she's an accountant and she's trying to get some things. So cover her.
Yeah.
Let her think she's working and do the work for her.
No.
Yeah. Because she'll appreciate it later when she doesn't have to go back. Whatever she's working on, make sure it's not all that important.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And take off the important stuff. Because she's not going to get anything really done.
Maybe a little bit in early labor, but once the ball gets rolling, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is she doing? Taking meetings, and what are you going to do in the hospital? I've been in the labor room a number of times. I can't imagine what anybody can actually think they're going to be working on while they're in the labor room. I don't know what you're doing unless you're just taking meetings and having conversations with people, which I suppose is doable, but highly uncomfortable for the person on the other side. I mean, I'm just.
I can't. No, I would refuse. To do a Zoom with a
that's what I'm saying.
No,
even on the phone, panting. No,
stop it.
Stop. No, the beeps of the nurses. No, stop. Oh yeah, she's not going to get any real work done. So plan for that. That's what you do. Okay, what's next?
What's the dumbest complaint you've gotten from a coworker?
Oh, that's a difficult one because there's so many that you just kind of blend into.
They kind of do.
Over a while, you stop paying attention. And it's not that complaints are necessarily dumb. Sometimes it's not the complaint that it's dumb. It's just that it's so obvious that you're going, and we're all dealing with the same thing. You're Einstein. You're not. Yeah. So even though I could suppose I could say that, any employee that complains that they're bored is annoying. I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. Shut up.
The only thing I can think of is
Be happy you're bored. Shut up.
is a supervisor who her name was Courtney, and she was introduced to me as Courtney. And one day she goes, "You can call me Princess," and I said, "No."
Now, the funniest thing that's ever happened to me, I used to work with a Ukrainian. My boss was Ukrainian, and I worked at a manufactured. We finished manufacturing high pressure hoses. Well, you all think high pressure hoses. For us, it was low pressure hoses between 5,000 and 10,000 pounds. But in the industry, that's low pressure.
Ooh.
So we were dealing with low pressure hydraulic hoses, and I was the hose cutter, and so we had this hydraulic thing. You stepped on a pneumatic thing. You stepped on a pedal, it moved the thing, cut the hose, right? And every now and again, it gets stuck. And would you fix this thing? You asked the boss, will you fix this thing for me? It really gets in my way. He says, well, just pick it up and drop it. That gets it unstuck for now, but it's just gonna get stuck again. But this solution to fixing it was just pick it up and drop it. It's like, yes, that will unstick it, but it keeps getting stuck.
Someday that's not going to work.
You fix the damn thing. So there you go. So maybe that wasn't really a complaint, but that was the dumbest suggestion I've ever heard. Yeah, well, yes, I know how to unstick it, but well, you fix it. That's your job. Okay.
Can I ask a former manager that I haven't spoken to in 3 years for a reference?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? They're likely happy to do it. Most people are.
Yeah.
That's the easiest question we've had. We're probably going to have all night. Okay.
My boss keeps asking me to stop working overtime because he is afraid that I will burn out.
Either that or he's tired of paying you all that extra money.
Yeah.
But hopefully he's actually afraid of you
He is.
burning out, because that's not good long term. Might not be entirely altruistic, but it is correct. And maybe he is thinking of his bottom line. But, there's work not being done as well. But you will burn yourself out. Wow. It's interesting.
We live near a flight path.
Yeah, so every now and again, we have to, you sit quietly for a moment while someone who's having a really bad day gets taken care of.
Then that's nothing is really required of you. I don't. Some people are very upset by it, and I don't understand.
No, it's someone's no one takes a ride in a helicopter to the hospital. He's having a good day.
Yeah.
So, by the grace of God, go I and all that.
Yes.
Those are those things that remind you of your humanity. So, frankly, it's humbling to live near the hospital. So,
It is.
It is. So, okay. So, where we're at? Yeah. So, speaking of hospitals, yeah, hypertension is the world's biggest killer long term. So whether he was doing this because he wants to save his pocketbook or save your mental health, the reality is he's saving both. So reduce your overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out. Okay, what's next?
How often do you call in sick for work?
Well, see, this is a thing. Back when I had kind of the undiagnosed anxiety disorder, I called in sick a lot. Oftentimes, I'd call in sick on days where I knew it would have the least impact. Take a mental health day.
Yes.
Yeah. But I did that a lot. Now I don't, but now I can manage my mental health better. I take a day off when I'm sick or when I need it. But I've also put myself in a position for over the years where I'm valuable enough where I can take a day off when I'm sick or when I need it and not worry about it. But you have sick days for a reason, so use them.
But and you do preemptive work too. You take half days sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on occasion, I just, you know what, I just don't want to be here, but because I've set myself up, and I know which half days I can take and which half days I can't. So there's some of that.
Mhm.
So you call in sick when you need it is the starting point, and define need is open. Most of the time, they're called paid time off days now. We've kind of melded your vacation and sick time,
Yeah.
so you can just use them as you need.
Yeah.
So use them as you need, but make sure you use them when you need them. You don't want to give a reputation of calling out on the busy work days. I have a nasty habit of calling out on days where stuff would happen. All the interesting stuff happened on days when I wasn't there. Like, am I just the thing? If I show up, it's just gonna be a normal day, and if I don't show up, all kinds of weird stuff happens. What the heck is that? How do I always miss this stuff? It's just, weird stuff happens to me. Well, there's the opposite thing of that.
Apparently.
It works both ways. It's the weird stuff doesn't happen to me. Also,
It's a reverse jinx.
it's the same thing. It just manifests differently. It's weird. Anyway, my life is strange, and you didn't believe me.
I didn't at first when we first started dating.
Yeah, you didn't believe me.
You said, weird stuff happens to me. And I'm like, yeah, me too.
No, I meant weird stuff happens to me.
I've had weird stuff happen, but it happens to you routinely.
Yeah. I roll those nat 1s and nat 20s a lot. Yeah. Yeah, it works both ways. Okay.
We're moving on to parenting.
Okay.
I picked up a stranger's baby today. Was I in the wrong? Okay. She was at a park. The baby was at the end of the slide, and the kids were coming down, and the baby was, and they were just ignoring her, just hitting her, and off they'd run, and so she went over and she was helping the baby up, and the mother got upset.
Well, as a rule of thumb, you don't pick up other people's children. Right? You ask first. It's a general rule of thumb. And one person's version of the baby's in danger is the other person's version of the children are playing together. We don't know how upset the baby actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Baby was actually could have been right in the middle of playing with their brothers and sisters and was happy as a clam. But you as a stranger come in, don't understand the family dynamic, and or the mother was looking away. Next thing you know, she just sees a stranger picking up her baby.
Maybe a little bit of both. Yeah.
But which is why you don't deal with other people's children. I mean, there is caveats to all this. It's a very difficult line. I'd say in a case like this,
I have held my hand out to a child and helped them stand up.
See, in a case like this, we're at the park, I would try to have a conversation with that oldest child. Hey, is everything going? You find the oldest child who's playing, the one who can communicate. Hopefully, there's one child there. There's, if you got siblings, there's usually a ringleader. You find that one, and you have a conversation with the oldest child who's engaged in the behavior that you're concerned about. Not in a wagging your finger way, just asking them. Children are much better about asking. That your brother? Oh no. And this kind of gets everybody's attention and actually accomplishes the goal you want, which is kids to be more careful around the baby without you triggering any danger signs. As men, if you have to be very careful. We have to learn how to do this in parks, where you have to learn how to kind of be a traffic cop for all these other children without ever having to come close to touching any of the other children.
Ah.
You're not allowed as a man in a park.
Mhm.
You're already looked at as a potential threat from all the mothers in there. It's so a single father, you go in with your daughter to a park and try to take your daughter to a park, you're viewed as a predator to all the mothers who are around there. And maybe rightfully so. It is it just is. Well, it was probably less common, remember, less common 30 years ago, 25 years ago,
Yeah, true.
20 years ago, whenever this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 55, so 30 to 30 years ago or so. Summer's what, 25? So yeah, 25, 20, 25 years ago. Things were different then. Anomalies. But even still, come on, put your thinking cap on back as a young mother and just see the one guy walking, sitting at the park.
Well, as soon as I saw that he was with a child, then and obviously the child is calling him daddy and stuff like that, and then he's here with his child, cause just like me.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's when the women get together, groups. I don't know. Just saying.
I've never experienced that.
Cool. It's a common thing of those experience for us men who take their children to the park.
I see.
So.
Oh, that's sad.
It just is. Okay.
What's the most embarrassing thing your child has done in public? Now, I can't really remember my children, they were always pretty good. I mean, they pitched fits. That is basically the only thing.
Yeah,
You throw themselves on the floor.
I don't even remember which one it was. I think
Drama.
one I had to actually carry out of the store under my arm like that. I think it once. I think that's probably the.
I've had to leave the store once with all of them, and my middle daughter twice. Had to do it 2 times.
Yeah, that would be the one.
And that fits. Yeah.
That would be the one. Yeah. That would be the one. I've had to carry one out, I suppose. That's probably the thing. I don't know. I've never been embarrassed by children's behavior. So, children. So, why would I be embarrassed how this little tyrant is trying to behave? It just was never embarrassed by that kind of thing. I had far bigger things with them. My anxiety disorder, embarrassment didn't make the list. Okay. What's next?
Okay. How do I explain my husband's behavior to my children? He did some shrooms.
Oh, fun.
Psychedelic shrooms.
You're not supposed to do those around where your children will see you.
And he, took his clothes off and he just was pontificating all night, and
Okay, this is the thing you can do that's actually both honest and evading at the same time. He didn't react well to his medication.
he took medicine and went bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one because I was at a loss.
Yeah.
I'm like talking about drugs.
And then you roll up a newspaper and you smack him over the head with it.
What are you thinking?
This is what you have the boys' weekend for, right?
Yeah.
This is not for home use around the kids, or you send the kids off to grandma's for the weekend or something of that nature. That smack them over the head for that one. You make them pay the price, not for doing the truth, but for being stupid about when you do it.
Being stupid about it.
Yeah, that's what you get him in trouble for. So yeah, he's got to play a penance for that. But The explanation is he just didn't react well to
Mm.
to the medication. He took some medication, didn't react well to it.
Okay.
So, and if you have a child who's old enough to ask questions about what the medication was, well, then mushrooms and that kind of thing help people deal with old traumas. So it was supposed to be what you take them for. It helps people deal with PTSD.
It's peyote.
Yeah.
To see God.
Well, acid, shrooms, they all have that similar effect.
Yeah.
Now, overdoing it, like Mr. Knucklehead over here, it's supposed to be a controlled environment. But that's the actual case. That's why people actually use them. So, okay.
All right. Toddler witnessed grandpa dying. How to best support him?
Well, here's the thing that toddlers adapt well. So you just, he'll tell you he misses his grandpa, and you say and you miss him too, and you share the moments together. That's all there is to do. Antoine experienced something similar. He didn't see grandpa pass away, but he saw him like the day before, 2 days before. So, and he was very tight, even though he was only 2.5, 3 years old. So, these things just are. They're very adaptable. They will experience it, how it through a toddler's eyes. So they're not through yours. So don't project. Just be there with them. So you don't have. There's nothing to do. To be honest, they're toddlers. They'll kind of go on about their lives, but they'll have moments where they'll miss. I want to see grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
I miss grandpa. They actually pick up on he's not going to be around faster than older children do.
Really?
Yeah. Older children have a harder time with death than toddlers. So, because toddlers, life is so fast for them. Everything is new. So it's life's coming at them so fast that they adapt to what has happened even just yesterday. It's just the nature of the beast. Unlike us, who have to stick that stuff into this big web of whatever tapestry of experiences we've built over our lives. So the older you get, the harder it becomes to deal with, until you get to the point where you have enough experience that you know how to weave those webs in. So anyway, just be there for him. Or in this particular case, he will probably be there for you more than you will be there for him. Yeah.
You'll be able to support each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my suggestion is don't worry about it too much. It won't be as difficult as you think it will. Yeah. Okay.
Did you let the size of your home dictate the size of your family?
No. Not at all. Now, should you? Well, probably. You should let your resources dictate the size of your family if you want to be. You want to be intelligent about it, I suppose.
Because you have to feed them.
And thoughtful. And whatnot.
Yeah.
But when it comes to children, that kind of thought is rarely, added to the equation. Probably should be. I can't complain. I didn't. So, paid no attention to that kind of thing. All right.
My daughter's cat drowned. Is it okay to lie to her? She's like 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she don't need to know why.
No, she doesn't need to. No.
She doesn't need to know how. She just needs to know that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not necessary. If you're older, Maybe, but at 5 or 6, under 10 even, if they're still in single digits, yeah, you can soften the blow. They don't need to know details. You just need to know that it happened. Yeah. Okay.
Would you let your 17-year-old daughter sleep over at her boyfriend's house? No, they can all come over and we'll all sleep in the living room together. And I have done that, my friend. You are not going over to some boy's house where I don't know what's going on.
Answer is no. Just no. But is what it is.
They wanted to help her navigate these things before she has to navigate them in adulthood.
Well, that's all fine. She's 17. She's already navigated these things. Just trying to tell you. They're just trying to do it easier. So, ship has sailed. But you don't have to provide the location. That's all
No.
I'm saying. Make them work, figure that out by just like the rest of us had to.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's not even being the mean. Well, if I had to go through it, no. It keeps the frequency down.
There you go.
All right. So we are on to a stacked relationships questions. Man, okay. We got lots of relationships questions, so we're going to have to kind of go through some of these. All right, what do we got?
Okay. My boyfriend is very clingy and I feel suffocated. Okay, he's 18. You know, I'm obviously insecure.
Yep. And he's clingy because you're neat, soft, squishy. He gets all fluttery around you. In a sense, it's flattering, but he needs to go back. He needs to find some more balance in his life.
Yeah.
So you actually tell him that. Like all this attention and stuff is flattering, but you need to find some balance in your life. It's not really attractive. You can actually drop the not really attractive part. That's mean. So, yeah, that's what you do.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I overreacting to my boyfriend being obsessed over Sabrina Carpenter?
Are you overreacting? Probably.
You're 18.
Yeah,
dude.
you're 18. Of course, you're overreacting. That's
Yeah.
just Let's just look at it this way. What's his actual chance of ever even coming anywhere within near contact of Sabrina Carpenter?
Okay, this is what happens when you turn 30 and you get married. You're each allowed to have 3 celebrities that if you meet, you're allowed to just carte blanche, do whatever, and the other one can't get mad.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
But this is what happens when you turn 30.
Yeah.
Just something to look forward to.
Yeah. So are you overreacting? Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
There's no chance.
No chance.
Let him have his fantasy.
Yeah.
And
go to a concert and, and you don't go, stay home because it'll just be irritating.
well, yeah,
So just let him do his thing,
or just you can participate. You'll have your person, your thing that he's going to find annoying, whether it's a movie or a book. You probably have a couple of them that he just lets you have. Let him have his thing. Yeah. Don't worry about it. There's no there because it's just
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is the beginning of this give and take stuff. He's allowed to have his things that actually make him happy. And what's wrong with him having something that makes him happy? He lets you be happy, right?
well, you'd hope so.
So this is part of the give and take in a committed relationship. And that you're learning that right now.
Yeah. And don't worry
For the
about
first time.
Yeah, don't feel
And
threatened.
I know it feels like a big deal, but it's not.
Yeah, don't feel threatened by
No.
celebrity crush type
No.
things or celebrity
No.
obsessions because they're not real. By definition, they're not real.
And there is such a thing as a fantasy life, and there is nothing wrong with that. Don't you have your fantasies too? You know,
It's good for creativity, but
I mean, because we have these creative minds, and they're always working. You know, and this kind of stuff just happens. You know,
yeah, I,
you can't control your dreams. Yeah.
yeah. So there's nothing to worry about. So don't worry about it. It just yeah. They're 18. Of course, it feels big. Okay.
Okay. Finally meeting my online girlfriend after years of talking. It's not going well. Now what? She's expecting him to pay for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys didn't have that discussion after all these years,
No, apparently not.
or did it change once she got there?
Apparently not. He didn't say.
Oh, well, you're finding out about the real person, not the person they decided to tell you about. This is just how dating works.
That's why you.
That's why you do this part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you either find your way through it or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you move on.
Yeah.
And if you do, then you move forward. But you notice both ways are still moving. So
And so you need to have that conversation with her.
yeah.
You know. I mean, now set the precedence now that everything is up for communication. There's no topic that's taboo, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe find out that her job doesn't pay as much as she was saying it was. You know, maybe she was inflating her income. She doesn't have the money to pay for the thing. And she's embarrassed. Right. And rather than downscale her wants, she's expecting you to pay for them. And so rather than go to dinners, you go to Denny's. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
If that's the solution to the problem.
Uh-huh.
So, but you have to have the conversation, and that's how you start real relationships. You have a problem and you work through it, or you don't. But you have to actually do the thing that's called work through it. Attempt to work through it. Otherwise, you don't know. So you go have the discussion. Have fun. Okay, what's next?
I have a bad scar from heart surgery and I didn't tell my boyfriend about it. And now he's seen it and I feel like he's not attracted to me anymore. How can I fix this?
Well, he's probably shocked. He didn't expect to see that there.
Yeah.
And because you didn't tell them to, this is why you don't shock people with things. And it's got nothing to do with the appearance. That people can get over relatively easily. You know, people can get over a big scar easily.
Yeah.
It just becomes, there. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. But what's harder for people to get over is the shock of seeing this big thing scar on an 18-year-old, because they're 18 and 20, and he doesn't have experience on how to deal with this properly.
No.
And so here's what you do. You go and you apologize to him. You make it, as anytime you have to have a difficult conversation, you try to make it about you as much as possible. If you want to get it resolved as smoothly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Make it about you, especially when you're dealing with men, because they like to solve problems. So if you make it about you and give them a problem to solve, I'm giving y'all keys to the kingdom here. But it takes some humility to make the problems about you.
I find can you help me? Quite effective.
Yeah, but if you
Now they become excited.
This is actually a perfect way to approach this. Can you help me? I have a problem.
Yeah.
And you say, and then the thing is, I think I shocked you by not telling you I had had heart surgery, and then I was going to have this big scar, and I'm worried that, and my insecurity is coming out, and that you've been silent since then, or we've been less, romantic sense then
Mhm.
that, you know, that played a big role in that. He'll take a second and think about it, and he'll likely apologize and go something like, "Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. I kind of froze up, and now I don't know how to deal with it."
Mhm.
And so he'll actually thank you for bringing it up and approaching it, so he doesn't have to,
Mhm.
because that's really what it likely is. It's just he doesn't know how to move forward now because he had this big shock moment, and now he doesn't know how to kind of move forward. He doesn't know how to bring it up because he's 20. And should you always be the one who has to bring these kind of things up? No. But you're the one who's talking about it.
Yes.
So if it's bothering you more, it may be sitting on him the same way. That, I don't know how to bring this up. I don't know how to ask about it. I don't know how careful I have to be. What can I do? There's all kinds of questions that come along with that big, huge scar. Health concerns, how vigorous can or can't not be. There's all kinds of questions that come along with that, and you need to help them with those. And you startled him. And so what you do is you apologize for startling him. I have a problem. Can you help me with it? I have a problem. Can you help me with it? And then you explain your problem. And your problem is you think you startled him, and now your insecurities are worried that you no longer find you attractive.
There you go.
And you go from there. And I'll almost guarantee that he just doesn't know how to approach it.
He's waiting for her.
I know when you say he's waiting for her, he just doesn't know how to approach it.
Mm.
It's a different thing than waiting for her.
Oh.
He just doesn't know how. He would if he knew how, but he's 20. He doesn't know how. Okay.
I regret marrying my husband. How do I get past this? She fell out of love with him.
How long has this been? Just like 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So as soon as it got real, she fell out of love.
They're 30 in their mid-30s. Yeah.
So what? He farts in bed and picks his nose, and now
Well, he has just just like everybody else, he has a laundry list of human frailties. There was nothing. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't gamble. He's not a drinker. He doesn't. Everything is just normal. But was expecting romance continuously.
That's not how. I'm sorry, ladies. That's not how marriage works. You can't. It's not possible. It's literally, except for a handful of people who have some ungodly energy, it's not possible. In the ups and downs and ins and outs of life, it's not possible. Stop expecting the impossible. I've read too many romance novels, too many princesses things, and they live happily ever after. No, they did not live happily ever after. They went back into the mundane day-to-day life of everybody else. That's what happens. Happily ever after is contentment, not happiness. Happiness is a short-term emotion. Contentment is stronger, sturdier. It's the foundation that happiness sits on. You can't be happy. You can't have moments of happiness unless you're content. Not in a relationship sense, because it's always tinged with something else. Those moments of happiness are always tinged with something else, unless you have a layer of contentment as the foundation for it all to stand on. The grass is always greener on the other side, and she's found that the marriage rut is not as exciting as the romance thing. But yeah, that's the point. Because life can't always be like that. Life has to return to some sense of normalcy. It has to. It's actually why people get married. It's actually why people move in together, so that life doesn't have to be that chaotic dating life. It can actually settle down into a mundane routine.
She's 34. I'm wondering if hormones don't have something at play here.
I suspect that these are expectations.
Expectations. Okay.
She needs to change her expectations. She doesn't find, we talk about love language a lot, and she needs to find his love language. My guess is he's expressing his love to her in romantic ways, and she's not seeing them because they're lost in kind of day-to-day routine stuff. But that's the day-to-day routine stuff. That's the real love.
Thank you.
That's the real love. Those the day-to-day. It's not the big huge gestures. That's not love. Love is the day-to-day goofy things that people do for each other.
You know what gives me warm fuzzies?
What's that?
When I ask you to come do the garbage disposal for me because I don't like the button and you come do it. That just gives me butterflies.
It's the day-to-day things.
It really is.
I'm just saying.
You're my hero.
So stop worrying about, that's my thing. Stop worrying about the big gestures and start looking for the little ones, would be my suggestion before you start throwing a marriage away. There's a reason you got married, and remember that one. And it wasn't just the romantic gestures. There was something else. It wasn't the romance. You didn't get married because of the romance. It's not why people get married. Well, not out of books anyway. Okay, what's next?
I blacked out and slept with a C-suite executive at work, and I have no idea how to proceed. I've never done anything like this. She blacked out. She drank to the point of blackout and slept with a coworker.
Yeah.
In the blackout.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Stop drinking until you're blacking out. For the love of God. That's the solution here. Let's forget about the sleeping with that you just ignore, right? If at all possible, you just kind of ignore that kind of thing.
This is what is known in AA as a red flag.
Yeah.
and maybe even a wake-up call.
Big flashing warning sign, alarm bells are going off. I'm just saying, but maybe you're not ready to admit you're an alcoholic or all that stuff. But hey, how about this? Is when you go out to drink, you limit yourself to 2 or 3, something you can get yourself home by yourself on. And if you can't stick to that, then you got a problem. My guess is she probably has a problem, but let's give her a test.
And you can't switch to drinking at home after you.
That's not the solution.
Because a good alcoholic, that's where my mind went.
Well, you drink at home, so I'm home and safe. Well, okay, it's moderately better for your safety. It's not any better for your long-term life. You're just changing you're just changing physical danger for kinds of other emotional dangers. Yeah. So, all right.
You end up in a ball on the floor crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my concern is there's nothing to do, and unless you think the C-suite executive actually took advantage of your state, I suppose there might be something to do. But I would take personal responsibility on this one and take a handle on my drinking.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
My boyfriend said he'd sleep with our maid and make her his wife if she's hot. How does one react to such? Because they were just saying, what if we got really rich and we had a big house? She says, I'd want a housekeeper to clean it so I could spend time with the kids, And he came up with this statement.
Well, this is one of those things that really kind of depends. Is he a historical jokester who comes up with kind of wild statements to get, kind of like an internet troll? You married an internet troll, and occasionally it comes out. and kind of thing. You know, these are coin flips because it could be that. He wasn't really being serious. He was just trying to end the stinking silly conversation. So he went with something so silly and stupid that it ended the conversation. I'm done with this. So, you know, we do that. How am I supposed to follow that one? You're not supposed to. That's the point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Y'all are just. Why can't you just say I don't want to talk about this?
Because you guys don't like that far more than you don't like us coming up with stuff. So we've learned our lessons on this, and you know they aren't universally applied, but you know, doesn't like you're different than others, you know. So I suspect you weren't in your 20s.
No.
So
I was insane.
So if your husband is a historical jokester and that's kind of a trick
boyfriend
type
He's
thing,
not husband yet.
then
She's seriously rethinking it.
yeah. Well, this is how those things get pushed back. There's nothing to react to. If you think it was kind of a flippant, this is one of those things, a flippant offhand remark. There's something deeper there, but I don't want to. I wouldn't suggest you overreact to it, but you know, file it away. How's that? Unless he's a jokester, and then he's just you're gonna have to learn to deal with that nature of him because it's not gonna stop. And if
No.
it's here's the thing about those of us who make jokes, they don't all land, but you guys really like the ones that do, which is why we keep trying.
We really do. Sometimes you have your moments. You're just so sharp, brilliant, just wicked.
Yes, but you don't say anything about the ones that miss.
Because they miss. I'm being polite.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I'm funny man.
I'm just saying, you don't get one without the other. You don't get one without the other. So there is that kind of thing.
You know. So I remain silent.
Yeah. So there's your answer to that one. If he's a funny guy, that's what you've got. Okay, what's next?
Okay, my boyfriend said everyone has kinks and I should just accept it. How old are you? You're 31. You know better.
Yeah, well,
now he's slapping and choking.
During
intimacy.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Everyone has kinks. Well, maybe that may or may not be true, but what you do is you find people who participate in the other side of the coin of your kink.
Okay, he's saying she should indulge him.
Well, no.
Simply because he wants to.
No, you see this. If you have a kink, you have to find someone who likes the flip side of your kink.
He likes her.
Well, that's tough. He's going to have to go find someone who likes the flip side of his kink. It's the way kinks work. You greatly limit your dating pool.
She needs. It's okay, honey. It's okay. Just say I'm sorry.
It's not your thing. You find a different boyfriend. The answer is find a different boyfriend.
I'm not okay with that. And I have used this phrase often when I was dating. I'm not okay with this. Yeah. That's all you had to say. Well, why? I want to discuss it. No, I don't want to discuss it. I just don't want to do it anymore.
No, this is an easier question than all of that. You find a different boyfriend. This is a kink that is far too important for him.
Well, she's got to break up with him.
Well, yeah. So don't make the rest is irrelevant. You just find yourself a different boyfriend. He needs to find someone who shares his kink if it's that important to him. Not all kinks are that important to people. You know, some kinks can be left on a shelf for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't bother them so much. Others not so much.
Yeah.
So the fact is you just find a different boyfriend and you don't put any more thought into it than that. Okay. As we talk about kinks, we're moving on to our intimacy questions.
Okay, my girlfriend wants to try cuckolding. What do I do? Well, before you make a decision, you need to do some research
Well, again,
and have, is this something you're interested in?
this is the same answer as the last one.
What?
This is no different than the last question.
Well, he's kind of thinking about it.
Well, you're
Sounds
either
like.
interested. No, he just doesn't want to lose his girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Your girlfriend's interests don't align with yours. You find a different girlfriend. Her kinks don't align with yours. You find a different partner. Doesn't matter what it is. It's the same answer as the last one. If he was interested in it, he wouldn't be asking Reddit to give him advice. Doesn't want to do it. Men don't need encouragement if they're interested. They just go for it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
If they're asking, they're trying to be. He's afraid of losing his girlfriend. You've already lost her. Her kink is more important than your relationship, just like the last one. The answer is the same.
Okay.
Just because it's reversed doesn't make it any different. Just saying.
Okay.
I am marvelously consistent on these kinds of things.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Is it normal that he's only interested in sucking my boobs?
That he's only interested?
Pretty much.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. No,
That
it's kink is a theme tonight.
Apparently.
It's his kink. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess.
But she'd kind of like to mix it up.
Yeah. I would suspect that she would.
So she's going to have to tell him to move on.
Yeah.
Now, do you think maybe she could talk to him first?
Well, we don't know how old he is. My guess is he just doesn't know anything else. He goes what he's good at. His first girlfriend liked it a lot, so that's his go-to move, and he doesn't know anything else. So that happens, Kind of likes it because you girl, and so of course he does, and yeah.
Okay.
Become habituated. Yeah, I know it was going to be one of those nights. So that would be my thing. Yes, see if he's trainable poor phrase, but not exactly what I meant. But see if he's retrainable. Because my guess is if he likes sucking on your boobs, he might like sucking on your other parts.
Yeah, you could encourage him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Try it, but if again it goes back to the other things, if kinks don't line up and they're far more important than one person, then got to find another one, or technically they do, but got to find yeah. Well, I guess technically both of you do, but they're the one that's going to have a harder time because they have a much smaller pool to work from.
This is where personal ads,
yeah,
work.
But
wonders.
The kinkier your kink is, the smaller your potential pool of partners.
It really is. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Okay.
How common is it to get aroused by the idea of your partner having sex with somebody else?
Well, apparently quite common if you listen to tonight's show. So it's more common. It's probably more common than we'd all like to admit, at least in fantasy land.
In fantasy land.
Yeah. In reality land, it's
no,
different question.
I don't want to see that. No. I got movies in my head, thanks.
Yeah, so there's that. Is it
now? What do you mean make it real? What the hell are you talking about?
It's one of those things. It's probably better in the head.
Oh, it's perfect in my head. I have no feelings of jealousy,
Oh, yeah.
you know, which I know better. I know myself better.
So,
Oh my, ooh, man,
all right.
that would be ugly.
Okay. What's next?
Okay. I'm afraid I will break her. She's really petite.
Yeah.
New girlfriend.
Yeah. She's not that fragile. I get the thing, but she's likely not that fragile.
No.
Yeah. But you always want to start gentle anyway, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
She'll let you know if she needs more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about it. Start gentle and work from there. Okay.
Is it normal to struggle with sleeping the days after having your first orgasm? Am I going through sexual frustration?
I'm assuming this is a woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe is my question.
Maybe
Maybe you're obsessing.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's a brand new world.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. My guess is you're obsessing over it.
And here's a clue for you. You can take care of yourself.
It's always a possibility. Oh, maybe she's never been successful.
Oh, and in that case, it's time to get a little friend.
Or maybe she's
Get
never
a
been
vibrator,
successful.
definitely.
Or maybe that's how she did it. There's no.
No, she had sex for the first time with a partner.
Oh. Oh well, yeah. Then you're just obsessing. You'll be all right. You'll grip.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll be all
you'll
right.
be okay.
You'll be all right. Okay.
How do I nicely tell my boyfriend of a year to please masturbate more in between us having sex? Because he's constantly after her and she wants a break.
Well, that's not gonna change it. How many times have we discussed here? Those two things aren't related. Having him take care of himself more often is not going to stop his desire for you. That's not how that works.
Mm.
It's not like a replacement.
Just relieve the stress.
It's not like a replacement. It doesn't work that way. Our desire for a individual person isn't reduced because we've enjoyed taking care of ourselves.
Mm.
But those two equations, you don't make. They're not. They're not the same equation.
Mixing apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Is what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the same thing.
Right. Huh.
It's like if you're hungry for a steak meal, eating a scoop of ice cream isn't going to do anything for your steak meal. For your hunger for a steak meal, doesn't mean you don't like the ice cream. Just means you still want the steak. Just pointing this out.
I love your metaphors.
It's just not.
They're either sports or food.
It's just not gonna. It's not gonna solve her problem. Is my point.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the solution to her problem is to say yes a handful of more times. That's the only, got to toss a mistake a couple more times. Or you just kind of, because here's the problem. If you say no to him too often, he's going to stop trying.
Yeah. Yes. I know.
And then what's going to happen? And you say, well, that'd be nice. Is it? If that's if that's really your thought, then why are you together?
Because she loves him.
Okay. And I get it. Life's busy. You're tired.
Yeah.
And all these things, but 20 minutes at the end of a long day. Come on, he's not even going to last that long. You know this. Just saying, if because the solution she proposed won't solve her problem.
Okay.
It's actually just going to drive a wedge in it. So
Alright.
you either put up with his advances, you know. Hopefully you fend them off playfully so he doesn't stop trying. Because you still want him to be successful on occasion. And you maybe have him be successful on occasion when it's more convenient for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe, hey, here's another solution to this. On the odd occasion you are feeling amorous, go grab him.
Initiate. Yeah.
So he doesn't have to try all the, because we don't know. No, we don't get your sins. Stop it. We don't.
You don't get our hints?
No, we do not. Hold up a sign and slap us upside the head with your bra, and that's the hint we can get.
So,
And don't be confusing on your sign. Don't make it a riddle.
just make it clear, like, how about later tonight we get together?
No, because you guys have a terrible habit of thinking later tonight you're going to want to, and then later tonight you don't want to. Now is the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold up a sign, it says now, and you throw your bra at him. That's a sign we can understand. So that's all I'm saying. Not later, because later sometimes doesn't come. So, and it's okay. People are allowed to change their mind. You know, you're allowed to think you're going to be in the mood later and not be. It's not a human failing.
Now, actually, that's an opportunity for you to woo me, for me to get me in the mood.
You were supposed to already be in the mood. That's why you said later.
No. When I say that, then you say okay, and then you start wooing me.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
No, because the signal you are sending is that you are already wooed.
No.
And we're just delaying this.
No.
Then don't send signals. See, this is why things go wrong, because you're sending signals that.
So I have to say to you, hey, if you work at it a little bit, you might get a little something later.
Yes.
That's okay.
Well, it might not go over well, but at least it's being honest.
I need a little bit of an incentive here. Come on.
You shouldn't need an incentive.
Come on. We are so wired differently.
Yeah, men and women are terrible. That's how we get the population in check, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. All right. That is, before I get myself in trouble, we are out of here tonight. Remember, you can find us at latenightLove.us. You can send us your questions and comments, suggestions, and things to get me in trouble here at love at latenightLove.us. From me and Lubby, have a good night, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.